Hello guys, how are you today? Something broken on my settings. I'm very sorry for that. Tell me if it's not too loud or something. Adjust it for a second. Adjust it for a second. Okay. Not important at all. Come on. Yeah, it's over there. It's too loud now. Okay, how's that now? Hope it's fine. I hope it's fine, guys. Looks like it's not too loud, but I hope you still can hear it. Maybe I reduce it too much. So, Natalia, привет. С YouTube, привет. So today's stream is going to be in English. Although I know that most of community that support me is most of you guys are Russian speakers, so excuse me for that I'm streaming in English, but I also want to share this record with my English part of community, English speaking part, and I also want to expand international part of the community. Although if you would write the questions in Russian, I will answer them in Russian. Вот, друзья, извините, что я веду стрим на английском, потому что хочу, чтобы его могло понимать как можно больше людей, и по теме стрима у меня в личку приходило много вопросов от англоязычной части сообщества, поэтому я хочу, чтобы эта информация была доступна также им. Но если хотите, вы можете писать в чат на русском, я вам буду отвечать также на русском. Вот, ну и вообще пишите, если останутся темы для разговора, то, соответственно, я дополнительные трансляции проведу. Ну и вообще, не пропадайте, пишите. So any input, guys, you have it, write down in the chat, in the comments of the video below. If you're watching it in a record, you can also have any links you want in the description of the YouTube video or in the channel info. I have a Discord server where we can chat together, so join it, please. Okay, so what would be part of that stream? I want to show you guys my new cover operation system. It's still work in progress, very much, but it's mostly done for initial release. It's already contains a lot of my work for this month. Most of this month I worked on covert operation system, and there is actually a lot of code. It comes very complicated. So I think we can jump right into it, and I will show you how it works. I'm really interested in your feedback about UI and about everything basically. So that's I think I'm gonna mute everything right now. So I've prepared the save. That what players see after a few minutes playing the Juicecape. So this is buttons for two of my new systems. As I already mentioned, I'm replacing fonts with too loud, I'm sorry. I'm replacing vanilla fonting system with my Diplomacy system. So because there is no console support and you can't count on countries. I'm not sure if I keep the countries at more countries, but they wouldn't work like in vanilla. I have no solid conclusion how it would work. Maybe they all would be infiltrated at the beginning, and you will have to infiltrate it one by one, or something like that. But in the start game, they would not affect on anything, basically, except maybe graphs. I have no solid decision about it either. Hope it would be some. So yeah, so you have access to the diplomacy relations. Currently I set it to all fractions open. Sorry for two of these images. It's placeholders that I borrowed from XCOM files. That's one is final. It's mine work. So that's how it would looks like. Here would be additional information about faction. It's still work in progress. It would be there would be information about signed treaties, your reputation change for this month, and the cross factional relations that are in current state. That is subject of Alpha 2 stage that is presented on my roadmap. We'll talk about it later. So you can sell and buy only from diplomacy relation state. So if you're not friends with factions, you will have problems with trading. But in most part, you at least can sell everything only if you are not in open war with all the factions. If you became in war with all three factions, you lose the game. So this is a replacement of losing condition when you became very low in score with council. You lose. In my game, you will lose if you became in a war with all three factions, but to doing so you will have to make a lot of mistakes with diplomacy, so it would not be easy. In most cases you will be in friends with at least one of them. Also, they do not like each other, so if you become very friendly with one, others became mad, and so this cross diplomacy relations would be not constant in game. They would be changing based on your actions. So, but it's all not currently implemented. Just to mind, and also the button from here is also brings you to the diplomacy state. Worth to mention that I made a cute system if you have multiple bases to trade. So from this base you are going to buy and sell from this base, and if you hit the button from this base, you are trading with a faction from this base, so no extra clicks basically. And you can also access to selling from here, but now we should choose what base is it now. So here is little cute window to well, it can explain everything by itself, so like that. It wouldn't open if you have only one base. So that's all for it for now. As for covert operations, it's kinda similar to research project, but it has a lot of differences though. By the way, here is custom background that was drawn by artist I've hired. We'll touch it later. So colors for this state is still temporal. I want to I guess if we will have time today, we will choose colors together. I can imagine that that background should be like pink, like this one, but buttons instead could be red. This is I will change colors of the UI for the first time, so I hope it could be excited. Oh, Natalia, very friendly UI. Thank you very much. Yes, I put some work here. This state is really lame. I borrowed it from a new research state. As you can see, I just ripped the search button because I don't want it here. It would not be a very long list of the operations currently available, so you would need that. I think I will expand this widget for a little, and I definitely would like to have more info about operation in here, because it can have a lot of stats about it, so you would have general idea what you're gonna choose. So this also is very temporal screen, but in general it's working. So yeah, now let's choose an operation. Oh, come on, yes. Yeah, I haven't updated all rule sets. Right, so in instance, we have the description here that is comes from the mod. No, guys, I really want to. Yes, I haven't saved this yet. So sorry. I want to reload. Yeah, it wouldn't last long. Yeah, that was the point. Okay, so what can we see here? This means that we need at least 2 soldiers, 2 XCOM agents to actually start the operation. This is bare minimum of the effort you need to start the operation. Every numbers, every setting comes from mod, so it would be a lot of the operation with very different settings. So it's just an example of, you know, test operation and some placeholder for description. So we must choose 2 soldiers for this operation, but also we can have 1 optional soldier. It means that operation allows us to use more soldiers than bare minimum. This soldier would significantly increase the chances of success. So like if we choose only 2, it's an average chance, but we can choose to have another one, and it significantly improves our chances. This UI puts me in trouble because it looks very familiar, but it works very differently from the very same UI from choosing, because of how it actually works. It's a very backend story, so I'm not. I don't think it's worth your much attention, but I think it took me a week to make it works like that, because there are so many cases when things can go bad here because of it has different colors, and when I click it should be recolored, renamed, and if I click again it should return to state it was before I clicked on it. And due to how engine works, I had to very much redo how this list works, so it cost me a lot of pain actually. Anyway, I'm happy how it works. It's very, very fine, and this also, I think it's very informative how it works. So like we have 2 minimum space and 1 extra slot, and we used all 3. You can also notice that maybe you can notice that stats of the soldiers actually count what I have. Yes, so you can see I'm choosing different soldiers, and I have different. I can reach good with only rookies. That's because very, very complex system of how soldiers stats their basically all what is about soldier counts more or less. And after we set up team, and there is some after processing that understands what composition is it. So if we have high ranked soldier, it would also make a bonus for the commanders, because it can lead the team. But if we add just squaddy, it wouldn't work that well. Ranks itself also counts, and for now I keep all logged. So actually we have almost 90% of success chance with such setup. So a lot of stats calculated down here. This is only an output. It's like 500 lines of code with just calculating, and all soldier stats have nonlinear input, and this is very complex model actually, but I want to feel it very simple to the player. So you just pick the soldiers, and the better soldiers are, the better they would perform in a covert operation. But it's not simple to predict by yourself how exactly they would be, how exactly good they would be. If you're a modder, you can hit debug mode and go back, and it will be in numbers. So if you're a creator, if you want to make submods from the Ashes project, or just use my engine to make your own game, there is an option for you to understand it more easily how it works. So it also, for now, it comes to a log. So but that's only for current debugging. I'm going to remove that. Also, of course, types of soldiers counts. For example, I will have XCOM soldiers, I will have pilots that are also soldiers but pilots, and they would be useless in covert operations. And I will have resistance agents, resistance volunteers, or something like that. They will be better in performance than your soldiers, slightly better. Enigma bounty hunters would be lower in effective, and Void Corporation elite agents would be slightly better than usual soldiers, but not as good as resistance. So there would be also such level of complexity. Anyway, I'm going to leave the debug mode to understand how players would see that. Okay, here we go again. So we choose team, right, like that. Then we can assign the equipment for them. This also important because some operations will have space limit of how much stuff you can bring to it, and if you over this limit, your chances would go significantly lower. this just reminds you that you have 3 soldiers. I'm still fighting for inventory button over here, but due to how engine works, it's not very easy actually, so it's also work in progress. I still not implemented it yet, but in general it just works. So you can imagine how much stuff you will need to equip 3 soldiers, and not sure if you need an inventory at all. Most of the operations in from the Ashes mod would be for low numbers of soldiers, like 3, 4, not so much. So, but I imagine that many players would like to have additional templates for covert operation equipment. Such quality of life improvements are also not in scope of current alpha build. Quick mind, hello, that looks great. Thank you so much. Good dog, cool. Привет, good dog. Thank you. So back to the equipment. Covert operation system respects categories, although categories belong to mod. I've hard-coded some categories that I actually inherit categories from XCOM files mod. I used to it. I like it. It's logical. It fits very much. I just removed some categories, make this system a little bit simpler, but still they would be mostly same. Well, that is my categories. I just removed some that were in XCOM file. So it also can have a tag like concealed or not. So while you are in concealed, you have a bonus, slightly bonus. So you can equip light concealed weapons like that, and chances are not reduced. But if you will use some heavy weapon, oops, no, too much. Okay, so anyway, what some weird bug. Right, I need to check that. All that stuff is happening. That looks, it looks simple to work, but you saw that -5. What the hell was that? I would need to dive in that for sure. I think it used that. Anyway, let's see. We have 83 chance, but if we will equip just one, you even can see that chances are reduced, because we equip some not concealed weapon, and that breaks our disguise. So our bonus for concealed only weapons is gone. So, and even more, if we equip some of the heavy weapons, we will have a penalty for each of the weapons. So if we equip non-concealed weapon, we just have flat we just lose concealed bonus, only one. So if you use one not concealed weapons, it is not important if you use more. It doesn't count anymore. You don't have concealed bonuses. But if you also use heavy weapon, your chances would be additionally additionally lowered for every item that is heavy. So like that. So you shouldn't bring any heavy weapons or face the penalty of the success chances. So that's why concealed weapons would be very important from the Ashes mod, not just because some missions, some regular missions would require only concealed weapons, like we can see in XCOM files, but also because covert operation system. I would also recommend you to bring some fine weapons, because you could need those very much. So let's equip like that with some ammo, with some spare ammo. Okay, we can use more. Okay, what that? That's why I need additional testing, actually. You are only allowed to take maximum of minute. Ah, that's right. I also have. Why would that stuck all the time? I need to make additional testing about that before I release. But that's how it should work. Окей, good dog. Можно вопрос, можно добавить новые типы повреждений, вроде радиации, к примеру, остается зараженная зона с постэффектами, как дым. Или химический, как дымовая завеса, но только зеленого цвета, к примеру, эффектом кровотечения. Так, ну вообще дополнительные эффекты. That's about additional damage types. Not the scope of this stream, but still I will answer. Смотри, типы можно добавлять, но, по-моему, вот на повреждение, которое имеет зону, так сделать будет нельзя. Вот, и там то, что про кровотечение, это вообще отдельная большая история, так, скорее всего, нельзя сделать. Если на эту пулю пролетает. Да, и пролетание насквозь, это довольно сильная переделка движка, пока находится вне скопа моей деятельности. So, let's move on. We can also have some armor, and this particular mission is fine with personal armor. It's not reducing the score, but in mod I think I will change that. It's just for testing currently, so there would be some armor restrictions also, so you can't bring heavy armors on covert operation. That's the general idea behind it. Every particular armor has value for this covert operation. This is defined per operation in its settings, so you can set up a covert operation to not use some of the armors. Well, player will be able to use it, but it will greatly reduce the success chance. Okay, we can also assign, as we can see, scientists and engineers to help us in the operation. There would be a lore describing how exactly they will help you to prepare additional additional equipment, some custom equipment that is needed for operation, or to make additional researches, additional intel, well, stuff like that. So you can see it also affects a lot on the chances. If you forget to free enough scientists or engineers, so you don't have enough, of course button would not allow you to assign more than you have, but you can reassign them with that buttons. Probably I will draw extra symbol for that buttons, for them to be a little more obvious. But with that buttons you will not have to cancel this and go back to research state and then set up everything again, so you just can go like that. And well, we are in great chances of success, and great actually means that chances are above 100, so we are pretty sure that we succeed that operation. And if you have great chances, the operation duration could be also reduced slightly, so this is a kind of bonus we have for extra chance. I thought a lot about how extra chances would help you, and that's all that comes in my mind, that bonus to the duration. But I'm open here if you have any other ideas about how it can helps you, so please welcome. Okay, we can start now. We can check it in here. Currently in my to-do list there is another state about it, to actually look at ongoing operation and abort it on some emergency, like you really need that soldiers now on the another thing, and some operations could be very long, so I will leave options to abort the operation. You will, of course, you will lose every all progress done to it, but your soldiers will return in short time at your base. There would be also some window that will give you a clue what was it about and what should you expect if you forget what was it. Okay, so well, actually that's how it looks. We won it. It was configured to have only 2 days, so this is how it would look like if you succeed the operation. There could be a lot of outcomes from it. It just for testing, so it is not set up currently. We can have items, we can have researches from it, we can trigger new missions, like not like monthly triggers, but it can launch new alien missions by itself. I wrote specific code for it, so so these operations would start not monthly, but it can be in form of immediate reaction for your actions from the aliens, like retaliation of some kind, and or instead this operation will give you some clues to the weak points of Advent, so in short time some mission site would appear that so your soldiers pointed you at the weak spot, so you can go there with your main team and kick some asses, so like that. Events would spawn afterwards. By the way, events can spawn by ongoing operation itself, so you launch the operation and there could be specific events that would appear in progress of the operation, with some chances that are also defined, and in some corner cases, I'm not very sure about it, but in some corner cases on success operation the tactical battlescape would launch, but I'm not very sure that if that should happen. But still, there is a lot of outcome. Fundings, of course. I think and some reputation can be changed due to success of operation. Very same outcome could be defined for losing the operation. So another missions would be could be spawned, another event. You could lose some score because of it. Some reputation could be lost. Another event with some dark consequences could spawn after it, and a lot more. I also have this button. This is very work in progress thing. Actually, I've coded it only today in that state. It would be very familiar to debriefing state. So every details that I mentioned before, if it happens, it would be listed here, like score, funding, and etc. Everything could be here, and this button would show the experience that soldiers have due to operation. Xamlak 126. Привет, можешь рассказать о проблеме добавления нового эффекта типа огонь, дым и, к примеру, молнии, как от силовой перчатки, мод 45 или пиратки, появляющиеся от взрыва. Если честно, я новые типы урона никогда не добавлял. Там, понимаешь, это если идет взрыв с каким-то уроном, то это не проблема. А вот чтобы оставалось какой-то статический эффект, это я, честно говоря, не знаю, как сделать. Но мы можем вернуться к этому позднее. Вот. Я так сходу, честно говоря, не могу ответить. Я знаю только, что можно добавлять новый тип урона вот от прямого повреждения. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, we have event spawned, and it can have own effects. It can be delayed for some time. It's all configured in mode. Let's see if we can have some troubles with it now. Back to it, and for example, same operation and only rookies, only 2 of them, and oh yeah, it's still average chances. Okay, still 30%. Let's see what happened this time. Yep, that what can happen if your chances are very low. If your chances are very low, you can lead your soldiers to a trap where they would have to evacuate from the overwhelming advent forces or aliens or something like that. So that's why you need choose your gear carefully, because this is very common deployment. I put basically no effort in making deployment itself. I needed just to test how engine works, and you can notice that we haven't sent any craft, right? So I had to redone it significantly how it generates, because if you are a modder, if you would not place any craft, and we don't have any craft here in this case, engine would fall with error that it cannot place any XCOM soldiers, so it should not run the game. But now engine can actually run the game, because now it can spawn my agents. It should feel pretty random, choosing pretty random spot, but it's not very random. Soldiers tend to spawn close to each other, so if you have a lot of them, some would tend to swarm around each other. So there would be several nodes with your agents, but they would tend to spawn together with each other. Of course, if the numbers are low, the chances that they would spawn together in neighbor tiles are very low, but when they grow in numbers, they would tend to clusterize themselves. Also, I'm trying to spawn them in some sort of cover, so they would not choose roads to spawn. They would not choose free zones like that. So instead, they would spawn in buildings, at least in some cover. So this system is not very stupid. For now, I have no evade zone, and obviously I have no chance to win, so I just cheat out of it. So because that's not the scope of this stream. And ta-da, we won. Maybe I will teach the debriefing screen to write something special for traps, because it does know that it was not simple missions. It was resolve of covert operation, and we also have some experience from it. And we failed the operation basically. So we will face some consequences about it. Leading to a trap and failure is not the same, so you can fail but you can evade the trap. There is different type of failures, so you can just fail, or if your chances was very low, you can critical fail. In this case, chances to get in trap would be very much increased. So it would if you critically fail, it would be likely that you will get into a trap. Also, with critical fails, some of your soldiers can be wounded due to background actions, and they could even die. They would be missed in action, actually. So there is a code that protects them from that outcome. So they would be rolled to be dead, but then the game would check if if the soldier can evade such measure, and this divine protection is hidden from the player, just how the game works. So if the soldier is high ranked, and if he or she has some very specific perks about covert operation, the chances that he or she would evade such consequences would be reduced, and at some point very high ranked soldiers with specific trainings could be completely immune to be dead in critical failure of covert operation. So this is also important. And for example, how wounding works, it also do some damage to the soldier, and if that damage would be too much, soldier would be also dead. And so hit points counts. If soldier rolled to be wounded, there is another roll based on reaction, so reaction also counts, how soldier could evade to be wounded. And so basically how it works, the game decide how much rolls for the wounds it have based on how dangerous was the operation. This is a setting, and there is bonus rolls for critical fails of larger scale. So it rolls times based on danger, and for every roll, if it hit, soldier will roll if he can evade it. So it would be not like I'm not just generating the number of the damage for the wounds. There is a portions of wound, and soldier can evade, have a chance to evade each portion. So like that. Yeah, that was pretty simple. I just want to think on it, but I had to have my math skills for calculating the effect on the of the soldiers for the start. So that's basically it. Привет, ты только проснулся. Ну, добро пожаловать на стрим. Тут я показываю, ну, наверное, посмотришь немножко записи. Мои вот эти кнопульчики. Такие, so, there is nothing. Because we run this operation, it's not available anymore. But special for new guys come. I have to show you again Oops, not save but load. So this is how system works. Yeah, in details you can see it later. So like that. Okay, guys, please, if you have questions, I will gladly answer them. If you have any input about covert operation system, how it looks to you, what maybe you have any additional ideas, because I'm only one person thinking about it. The more people, the greater ideas, so please share. Probably could be some lags because I'm restreaming. Anyway, your feedback is very welcome on Discord server, or if you're Russian speaker, on the we have a VKontakte public, so check it out. All links are in the description of the video below. So basically this is it. This is how it works. Yeah, I've got really confused about how equipment works. I need to test it and iron it out, because I've tested very basically it. And for now we have another article I want to talk. Is my roadmap, if you may, because many people asked me how I'm going to develop my project. So basically it contains two big parts, the engine part and the content part. For now, as you can see, I'm working on the engine part. Because all content is basically a mod. So if we're talking about mods, that is a content part. And you can see that basically I haven't even started to develop it. I did few here and there inputs, mostly for testing and debugging engine, but there are already some interesting entities, but still nothing important here was done yet. I have a lot of picture contributions from the project fans. I very appreciate it. It is very welcome, because I have so much things to do and I do not really focus myself on drawing new weapons, but I'd like to have some unique weapons that are not presented in other mods, so well, it would be interesting for the player. Anyway, I would borrow some sprites from other mods, maybe modify them as I like, but for sure I would work on the balance, so it would not be just copy pasting or something like that. So there would be general idea behind that. That's for sure. So I split my progress that I can see for now in some stages. So currently I'm in pre-alpha stage where I have no public release. I did some release of very early version, and some people tested it. I'm very grateful for that. When when I would done with covert operations, I would also be very grateful if you would help me testing it, because it has a lot of some subsystems, a lot of cases that should be tested. For example, I have a system that would return soldiers on the training and PC training after the covert operation if the training facility have free slots, if the soldier is not wounded, if and so on and so on. And there could be cases with errors in such logic, because it is a ton of code actually, and we don't have right tools, so I have to manually write down all the cases one by one. So there could be mistakes, and for sure I have to put some love here on the equipment state. I hope maybe I need a week or slightly more to finish the states that are not extremely important for initial release, but I would like to have them. This is that detailed state that is very very raw for now. So though it's pretty complex, because it has many elements that need to be checked from initial covert operation, so it would work not like just debriefing state. I'm just working on it. Today I made where is it? Oh, here, tiny class for operation results, so it would load all info. Oh, I forgot to mention that some covert operations would be used in the story. So some operations would be necessary to be successfully resolved, because some of them would lead to very specific things. For instance, first operation would reveal first alien base that is currently open in my release, but for instance, for this function I was started to work on covert operations because I need player to reveal that base. So after that I decided to work on the system in general to make it solid, because it is much simpler to work on code when the mode is small, at least because of loading time. If I would make some changes for a big mod, it would cost an eternity to load it. I mean, I can change mod to XCOM files. Oh, Alex man, whoa, thanks man. Yeah, by the chance, I would like to say that all the donations I receive are going to be used in the mod on the development of the mod, because I need a lot of art. Like when I have already in form of backgrounds, in form of I would need to have a intro. I would need to have Wikipedia articles. I would need more characters like that. Where is it? Okay, so like that. I would need let's see, 5 more characters. So I found a pixel artist, and I can order some art from him, but it is not for free, so I use all the donation I receive on the art of the mod. So it is not only for motivating me, but it is also important because of that. I would be really motivated if you would support me this way, but it also not for just beer and candies, but for I'm using it for important stuff, to make a very quality game. This is my initial goal. Also, make sure to check my Patreon page or my Boosty blog if you want it in Russian. There I'm writing a development diary blog with some insights. So if you're really interested in the project, it would be maybe if you would be interested in that as well. Also, in any case, check my blogs, even if you do not want to subscribe it, because I'm usually making public my old posts, so you can read them for free. So, and also for my patrons, there is unique rewards, and for now I would like to say thank you to Solarius Scorch, my first patron, and dude, I'm waiting you to choose the reward. So check it out, guys. Maybe you would be interested. There are for some tiers there is very unique rewards that wouldn't be available after alpha would be released. So yeah, as for beta, as for my roadmap, there is my plan. So after I release Covert Operation, I would focus myself on content. So I would work on very basic things. Together with Alexman, we make some raw work on it, but I have a lot of ideas of how soldier balance would look like. there are ideas. I hope they would be nice for many people. There are some new things. So I hope my soldier system would be nice and balanced. Also, I'm for alpha. For alpha 1 stage, there would be a limitation of first month. So after first month would come to an end, alpha tester automatically win the game. So it just says thank you for being alpha tester, goodbye. So I'm going to be focused primarily on first month's gameplay at the instance to polish player experience that he or she will get from the very beginning of the game. So I will make most of the important missions about early stages. I will be working on balancing about all aspects of the starting gameplay. There are some features planned to be improved in faction and diplomacy at this stage because of the balance. When I will feel that first month's gaming experience is pretty much solid, I will expand this limit to 3 months. I think there would be a lot of work about covert operation because currently it is very static about it. I prepared all internal APIs to make it dynamically change it, but for now it doesn't. And I also do not have any negotiations. I have negotiation system backend negotiation system for first month the player would be playing with resistance diplomacy faction, and as they start friendly, the XCOM is automatically have help treaty with resistance. So negotiation system in some very simple form is already implemented, but player currently can't change anything about it from the UI. So I delayed this work to Alpha 2. Void Corporation would be implemented in Alpha 2. It will have own missions about it. Basically, my factions have own strategy and own mission generators, so they would be pretty much logic about it. And also in that stage I will have rebalance about aliens. I think in Alpha 1 there would be aliens flying here and there, but they would be too strong for the player. There would be no small UFOs there. So in my mod aliens present great threat to the player. In turn, there would be ways to not fight them a lot, because you have advent much weaker enemy and you can fight them more, but if you choose to fight aliens, there will be shortcuts in the research trees. So if you ignore aliens and just do advent and MIB missions, your progress would be much longer than if you fight aliens directly. But for fighting aliens, it would be very, very much challenge for the player. So basically, I want to achieve experience like when in XCOM files you arrive on two-man car to UFO with 6 sectoids and they just erase your team in one turn. That is the experience I'm aiming for early game with aliens, so they would be very, very cool. So there are thoughts about it in balances, and I hope I will be able to implement these 2 features here to highlight that ideas. I want some changes in AI behavior and custom landed UFO deployments. I can't say much more currently because they are very unfinished in concept, so I'm not sure how much I would be able to implement in this state. I'm pretty sure I can handle with custom landed UFO engine feature, but I never do anything about AI, and there is an idea about mastermind. This is something like alien strategy for GSK, but much more complex, that would react on player actions, something like that. There are very raw thoughts about it, so it is on my roadmap, but if I fail, it would disappear from it. It is not very, very needed at this stage. Maybe when I get more experience in coding of OpenXcom, then but I hope I will be able to handle it. And in second part of alpha, I will be implementing more general content. So for instance, for example, there would be only vanilla globe with vanilla terrains and stuff like that are not in scope of very general mechanics of very basic things, but in here I would implement community mod pack. If I may, I will implement some of the missions from another mods that I done there that can fit my lore. So and in here I will make a few missions of a plot. I mean, this is the way to win the game, actually. So this is what about it. And you can notice that divided it in such a way so each alpha, at first release it go taller, like it have completely new gameplay features, completely new game experience, but on a second release they would be wider. So in most of the mechanics it would be very same, but it would be bug fixing, balance fixing, and increasing of the content variability, the variations and such stuff. And I divided all development process in such steps. So next time we go taller again, and I will increase game limit to 5 months, so player would be touch the mid game. I think my game would be a lot shorter than other mega mods, so I think a year and a half is right time for single campaign of From the Ashes. Instead, I'd like to make it much more variations of the playthrough. So you would like to play it again with different strategy, different choices on diplomacy, different other choices. So I want to focus on replayability instead of single campaign length. That's the general idea here. So basically mid game will be presented here. So mastermind, if everything would go to at the plan, mastermind is would be more important here. I will complete faction, diplomacy and covert operation. All its features should be complete at this point, and generally work like it would be in further releases. So this would be about mid game, and I hope I will make it in a beta, so there would be no time limit, and the beta would be released when the game would be winnable. So there would be more about path of the winning and end game stuff, in many very general things. And for underwater, I have also plans for underwater. It would be in form of, say, expansion, so it would just expand over the content. And after that, I will just develop more and more things. There would not be, I think, a lot of system changes in the engine, but more content in the mod. I have some ideas about weapon upgrades, system like that, but it's even not on a roadmap because it's not basically in the focus. I have a lot of ideas about engine, but I don't want to develop just an engine, but a whole game. So I want to change my focus from engine to content. If you want to help me to develop the content, so I have a plan now, and if you like my concept, my ideas, any contributions are very welcome. So if you like it as a submod, it also cool. Also my engine works like itself too, so if at some point you are not happy with OpenXcom or OpenXcom standard, if you miss some features from it, my engine could be some sort of solution. There would be still problems like for now, if I to open all my features, I have very basic settings. I mean, excuse me, one setting actually. Where is it? Global variables, like that. FTA game true. So if it is presented in the mod, all that stuff happens, and the diplomacy and covert operations and replacing of the buttons and etc. But if you want to keep vanilla mechanics, well, the ideas are welcome. How to tie all them together in UI space we have without exceeding of vanilla resolution. I don't want to exceed vanilla resolution, as well as OpenXcom extended devs. I understand why they do not want it. So I guess that's it. I can show something about code if you like, but it's not very in the scope of this stream. So probably next time. Okay, guys. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest, so please, if you have questions, I think I have I can spend a few minutes on them, so please let me know. Well, the very next feature release would be 0.0.2, where I will release covert operation without cosmetic. What do I mean here is that I have a actually a more detailed plan here. So there is my Trello, and there are some tasks I plan, and there are delayed tasks, and like I said, inventory. Probably I need to handle mana regeneration on the soldiers that are on covert operation, because now it's regenerating like they would stay on the base. It is not important for my mod, because I will use mana replenishment after each mission, so when they are on the base, they are always full with mana, and actually mana would be used for psionic abilities that would not be available for alpha before the mid game, so this is not the case. I realize that the game is pretty brutal to the case when, say, you fly out of the base on your craft to some operations, and at this time your base was assaulted. If you lose that base, the craft is just erased from the game, literally. It is just deleted from the memory and from the save, so it's not crashed, the soldiers are not dead or anything like that, they're just erased. Not a bug, but a feature. I had a confirmation from the devs, and I was just like, wow, I think it's too brutal. And as for covert operation, currently it works the same. So if you launch covert operation, let's say for a month or like that, and your base in that time was assaulted and destroyed, you just lose everything about covert operation silently. No failure, no success, nothing, just erasing, meh. So but it just like game works right now, so not a big problem. I have delayed task with more intuitive armor UI for covert operation. Like I said, there would be some armors that reducing your chances to succeed the operation, but there is no clue about it in UI currently, so it is also not very good. Also we have in-game statistics about basically everything for finish game state, when you can see all the report, like how many aliens you killed, how many missions you had, etc, etc, many stats presented in there. And there was gathering through all the game in the save file, and I also want to gather information about performed operation for this state, as well as other activities of the player, because my covert operations system would be as important as research's manufacture, and maybe a few less important than actual tactical encounters, but also I want it to be in statistics, and I also want some note in the soldier diaries that they had the operations, like they have entities about tactical missions they had. I want same thing for covert operation, but it is not very important currently. I understand how it can be done, more or less, but for alpha it can be delayed. So that's what I mean without any cosmetics. So it should be working, it should be playable, it should be moddable, and all basic features I wanted should be implemented, but without any additional stuff. So this is what I have for my next release. Okay, guys, I think that's it. So that's what about my current state of progress. Please let me know what you are thinking in the comments on the YouTube or join Discord. If you want to support me, also check the links below in the descriptions. And see you again later. Goodbye. Всем русскоязычным зрителям. Спасибо за терпение, спасибо, что держите мой ужасный акцент. Вот. Будет еще стримы на русском. Честно говоря, мне их намного легче вести. Вот. Но по вот этой теме было очень много вопросов англоязычной публики, поэтому я решил провести стрим на своем корявом английском. Вот. Но если у вас остались вопросы, пожалуйста, заходите в Discord. Там также есть русский канал, где можно общаться на русском языке. Либо пишите в личку мне, либо заходите в нашу группу ВКонтакте. And for now, thank you guys. Good luck. Bye.